It started like a normal night in Chicago. I had just left my friend Josh's apartment around 11 p.m. The air was cold, the streets were mostly empty, and I could hear the buzz of a street lamp above me. I pulled my hoodie tighter and opened the Uber app on my phone. Driver's name, Daniel. Car, silver Toyota Camry. Arrival in 3 minutes. I stood at the corner of West 9th and Morgan. Not a lot of traffic. Just a few cars passing, headlights slicing through the dark. After about a minute, a black car slowly pulled up in front of me. Not a Toyota. No Uber sticker. But the back window rolled down halfway. The driver leaned over and looked at me. "You're Jake, right?" He said my name. Just like that. Confident. I paused. I hadn't said anything yet. I didn't text or call. But somehow he knew. "You headed home?" he asked, giving a small smile. I hesitated. Looked at my phone. The app still said the driver was 2 minutes away. But this guy was already here. No silver car in sight. "You're Daniel?" I asked. He nodded. Hop in." For some reason I did. I got in the back seat and shut the door. The locks clicked. Automatically. And suddenly, the street sounds outside just disappeared. Like I was in a vacuum. The car didn't smell like smoke or food, just this strong, fake air freshener smell. Like flowers that weren't real. Then, without saying another word, he started driving. No where to. No GVs. No asking if I was Jake again. He just drove. Like he already knew where to go. I said, do you know where I'm headed?" He didn't answer right away. Then, without turning around, he said, "We'll be home in 17 minutes. I felt something twist in my chest. I hadn't told him my address. I never said home. I slowly pulled my phone out again. Wanted to double-check the app, maybe call someone. But when I turned the screen on, it glitched, flickered, then shut off completely. Battery dead. But I knew it was at 80% just a few minutes ago. I swallowed hard. This wasn't my ride. I started to reach for the door handle. I looked around, no ID on the dash, no phone mount, nothing that showed this was a real Uber. "I think I got in the wrong car," I said. That's when he looked at me in the rearview mirror. His eyes didn't blink. He smiled, not big, not friendly. Just enough to show he'd been waiting for me to realize it. "No," he said softly. "You got in exactly the right one." Then he turned off the main road. And the street we were on? Wasn't on the map. Wasn't familiar. Didn't have street signs. It was just dark. And quiet. And wrong. I sat back in my seat, breathing slow, heart racing, staring out the window, but all I saw was black. No buildings. No lights. Like we weren't even in the city anymore. And then it hit me. I wasn't on my way home. I wasn't in a real Uber. I wasn't the first person who made this mistake. And I wouldn't be the last. I didn't say another word. I just sat there in the back seat, watching the road disappear behind us. Or, at least I thought it was a road. Everything outside looked wrong. Empty. Like we were driving through a tunnel made of fog and shadows. No buildings. No signs. No cars. Only us. And the car was going fast now, too fast for a side road. But the driver never touched the gas hard. His hands were still, his posture perfect, like he was waiting for something. My hands were sweating. I wiped them on my jeans and tried the door again. Still locked. I looked at the lock button near the window. It wasn't there. In fact, there were no buttons. No window controls. No handle. Just smooth plastic. Like the inside of the door wasn't finished. I leaned forward. "Where are we going?" I asked, louder this time. He didn't look back. Didn't answer. I tried again, sharper. "This isn't the way to my house." "Stop the car." Still nothing. I felt a chill run down my spine. Not because of the cold. because I wasn't sure if this guy could even hear me. I leaned closer, ready to shout, when I noticed something in the front. There was no phone on the dash, no GPS, no air freshener, no mirror dice, nothing. Like the car was new, or maybe not even meant to be driven. Then I noticed something worse. He wasn't blinking at all. He just stared straight ahead, eyes wide open. Not dry, not twitching, like he didn't need to blink. I pulled back slowly, heart pounding. I felt trapped, like the car was shrinking. My throat was tight. My legs were stiff. Every part of me wanted to scream, but no sound came out. The radio turned on, by itself. A soft static at first, then a whisper. It wasn't a song. It was a voice. Raspy. And it said, "Don't try to get out. You're already on the way." I froze. I couldn't tell if it was coming from the front speakers or from inside the car itself. Then it repeated, "Don't try to get out." And this time, I saw the driver's mouth move. He wasn't smiling anymore. He was mouthing the words at the exact same time. Like the voice wasn't separate, like it was him, and something else at the same time. I slid down in my seat, trying to breathe, trying not to cry. The kind of fear that makes you feel like a kid again, helpless, stupid, trapped. Then I saw something flash in the side mirror. A sign. Just for a second. Exit. Last chance. Then it was gone. I turned to look out the back window. Nothing but black. No exit. No turns. Just the road ahead. And the man who wasn't Daniel, still driving me somewhere I was never supposed to go. The car didn't stop. No matter how far we drove, there were no signs. No lights. No traffic. It felt like the city had vanished behind us, like we had crossed into a place that didn't belong on any map. I wanted to scream, to break the window, but deep down, I knew it wouldn't matter. Nothing in this car was normal. I sat frozen in the back seat, staring at the back of his head. He hadn't spoken since the voice on the radio. He hadn't blinked, hadn't moved. He was just driving. I pressed my hand against the window. Cold. Too cold, like I whispered to myself, "This can't be real." Then something strange happened. My phone, which had been dead, lit up. Not fully. Just the screen, bright white, no apps, no icons. Just a white glow. Then, slowly, letters started to appear, like someone was typing on their own. "You got in." I stared at it, mouth open. Then more words appeared. "You chose this. You said yes." My hands started shaking. I tried to close the screen, but it wouldn't turn off. It just kept typing word after word. "You belong to the road now. The ride isn't over." Then a picture appeared. Not a picture from my camera roll. A photo of me, taken just seconds ago, from inside the car. But I hadn't taken it, and I was alone in the back seat, or at least, thought I was. In the photo, someone was sitting next to me. A face, blurred, with dark eyes, watching me. I turned my head quickly, nothing there. Just an empty seat. But I could feel it now. The weight, the presence. Like someone else was breathing in the car. And not just the driver. Then the engine sound changed. Lower, rougher. The whole car started to shake slightly, like it was getting older as it drove. Like it wasn't a machine anymore, but something alive and angry. I looked at the front windshield. The road ahead was gone. Just black fog swirling around us. And then I saw headlights. 2 of them, facing us, getting closer. Another car. I sat up, hope rushing into me. I yelled, banged the window. "Hey, Hope, please." But the driver didn't slow down. The other car didn't stop either. It was coming straight at us. Closer, closer, too fast. I braced myself, hands over my head, and then nothing. No crash. No sound. Just gone. Like the other car had passed through us. I slowly looked up. The driver's face was in the mirror again. Still smiling. But now his eyes were black. Completely black. No whites. No light. Just two holes staring back at me. He whispered, "You'll feel it soon." I wanted to scream, but I couldn't, because when I opened my mouth, I tasted smoke. And somewhere far behind us, I swore I could hear someone else screaming. Someone with my voice. I didn't know how long I'd been in the car. It could have been minutes. Or hours. Time didn't feel normal anymore. The road outside wasn't moving. I mean, the car was still driving, but the world outside looked frozen. Like we were stuck in one single moment, repeating over and over. Same dead trees. Same flicker of fog. Same empty road. I stared at the driver. I thought maybe if I watched long enough, he'd slip up, act human again. Blink. Shift in his seat. Look tired. But he didn't. He just kept driving. Like something programmed, not alive. My phone buzzed suddenly. The screen flashed once, then turned completely black. Then, a sound came from the speakers. Not music. Not a voice. It was a recording. My voice. From earlier that night. "Hey, I'm outside Josh's place. Ordering the Uber now." I froze. Then it played again. Louder. "Hey, I'm outside Josh's place." It was playing over and over, like a loop. Like someone wanted me to remember the exact second I made the mistake. I hit the back of the driver's seat. "What is this? Why are you doing this?" His mouth opened slightly. Not enough to speak. Just enough to show his teeth. Too many teeth. And they weren't normal. They were thin. Crowded. He didn't answer. But the car did. From the speakers came another message. "We take the ones who don't pay attention. The ones who say yes too fast." Then silence. Then a new sound. Knocking. But not from outside. From inside the trunk. 3 slow knocks. Then again. Louder. I turned in my seat, staring toward the back. Someone was in there. Knocking. Desperate. "Hey!" I screamed. "Stop the car. Someone's in the trunk." No response. The car kept going. The knocks turned into pounding. Something, or someone, was trapped in the back of this car. And I realized something horrible. I could end up there next. I leaned over, looked at the front dashboard. Still no GPS. No controls. Just a black screen where the display should be. Then, out of nowhere, the car slowed down. My heart jumped. Was it stopping? The car pulled over to the side of the road. No signs. No streetlights. Just a ditch. And woods. The driver turned off the engine. Silence. He didn't look back. He didn't speak. He just sat there. I didn't move. I didn't even breathe loud. Then, the trunk popped open. I heard it. A soft click. Followed by the trunk slowly rising. I whispered, "No." Then the driver finally spoke. But his voice was different now. Deeper. Broken. Like someone speaking through a radio that had been underwater. "Just next one out is you." I didn't want to move. The car was off. The lights were dead. And the trunk behind me was wide open. But I couldn't bring myself to look. Not yet. The driver just sat there, still as a statue. His hands frozen on the wheel, even though the car wasn't running anymore. I whispered, "What do you want?" No answer. I tried the door again. Still locked. I looked around for something, anything, I could use. There was nothing. No umbrella, no phone signal, no way to break the window. Then the pounding started again. Not from the trunk this time. From the roof. 3 knocks. Then a long scratch, like nails dragging across metal. I looked up. Whatever was on the roof was moving. crawling. Slowly, I pressed my back against the seat, staring up, breath held. Then I heard it, a whisper, right by my ear. But no one was sitting next to me. "You shouldn't have gotten in," it said. I jumped, heart racing, and looked to the side. Nothing there, but the air felt full, like someone invisible was sitting beside me now, breathing, watching. I turned toward the front. The driver was still there, but something had changed. His face, it was smiling wider than before. His lips stretched unnaturally across his face. His eyes were gone, just empty, black pits. Then he opened his mouth, and I heard the sound of screaming. Not his voice, not mine. 100 voices, crying out from inside his body, like he was full of them. That's when I knew this wasn't a man, and this wasn't a car. It was something else. A collector. I pressed my hand against the window again, and this time I felt something new. Warm breath. On the other side. Then fingers. Thin. Slowly pressed against the glass from the outside. I yanked my hand back. Whoever would have, he was circling the car now. I saw its shadow pass by the window. It moved like a spider. Wrong shape. Too many joints. It was coming back to the trunk. I heard the metal creak as it crawled back down. Then the trunk slammed shut. I jumped. The driver spoke again, voice cold and final. "We don't ride alone. We always make room for one more." My door unlocked, all by itself. I stared at the handle. My heartbeat was so loud it hurt. I could leave, right now. But every part of me knew, if I opened that door, I wasn't stepping back into the world I came from. I was stepping into theirs. And they were waiting. The door was open, unlocked. Just a small click and I could escape. Or at least, that's what it wanted me to think. I sat there, hand inches from the handle, frozen. The air inside the car had changed. Heavier, like something was holding its breath, waiting for me to move. The driver didn't turn around. He didn't need to. He said, "If you leave now, you don't leave alone." I whispered, "What does that mean?" No answer. Outside the window, it was darker than before. Like the night had gotten thicker. Almost solid. I leaned forward, squinting. There were shapes. Shadows. Figures standing just beyond the road. Dozens of them. Not moving. Just watching. Their bodies were thin. Too tall. Their heads tilted slightly, like they were curious. Like they were waiting for me. My hand dropped from the door. I wasn't ready. Then the radio came back on. No static this time. It played music, but not normal music. A slow piano, out of tune, broken, like a child was playing it in the dark. Then over the piano I heard a voice. A girl's voice. Crying. Soft at first, then louder. Begging. "Please, please let me go." I pressed my hands over my ears. But the sound didn't stop. Because it wasn't coming from the radio anymore. It was coming from the seat next to me. I looked. The seat was still empty. But now it was wet. Dripping. Like something had been sitting there. Crying. Bleeding. And suddenly, I remembered the photo from earlier. The face next to mine. It had been her. I whispered, "Who are you?" The crying stopped. The seat creaked softly. Then a new voice answered me. Right behind my ear. The last one who tried to leave. I turned around, fast. No one. But when I faced forward again, the driver had finally moved. His hand was reaching into the glove box. He pulled out something wrapped in cloth. Red cloth. Stained. He placed it gently on the dashboard. Then he whispered, "Open it." I shook my head. "No, I don't want to." He didn't repeat himself. The car doors locked again, one by one. The air pressure dropped, like something huge had stepped into the space beside me. I knew I had no choice. I reached forward, hands shaking, and unwrapped the cloth. It was a phone. Cracked screen. Still on. It was a map app. And there was one destination typed in at the top. Home. Except it wasn't my address. It wasn't even a real place. It just said, "Where you belong now." Then the car engine started by itself. And the voice said, "Let's finish the ride." The car started moving again, but I never saw the driver touch the keys. The engine just woke up, like it had a mind of its own. The cloth-wrapped phone sat on the dashboard, glowing softly. I stared at the word on the screen. Home. But I didn't recognize the road we were on. This wasn't my city. Wasn't any city. No houses. No people. No lights. Just a long, endless road and trees that didn't look real anymore. They leaned in toward the road, almost like they were watching the car pass by. Like they knew where we were going. I finally found the courage to speak. "Where are you taking me?" The driver didn't look back, but I noticed something terrifying. His reflection in the rearview mirror wasn't matching his body anymore. When his hands moved, the reflection didn't. When he turned slightly, the face in the mirror kept looking straight at me, and it was smiling. Then it spoke, but not out loud. The words appeared again on the phone screen, typed one letter at a time, slow and sharp. "You left the door open, so we let ourselves in." I yelled, "What does that mean?" But I already knew. This wasn't just about the ride anymore. They weren't driving me somewhere. They were changing me. From the inside. I felt it, this quiet hum under my skin, a pressure behind my eyes, like something crawling around behind my thoughts. I reached for the door again, just to try. It was locked, of course, but this time it melted shut under my fingers. I pulled my hand back fast. The door wasn't metal anymore. It was warm, pulsing, alive. I looked at the floor. It was breathing, slowly, like the car itself had become a living thing. And it was taking me somewhere I wasn't meant to survive. I banged on the window, screamed, "I don't belong here. Let me go." The radio turned on again, and a voice answered, but it was my voice. "Yes, you do." Then laughter, not loud, worse than loud, soft, like 100 people whispering just beneath the sound of the wheels, like they were already inside me. I stared back at the road, and for the first time, I saw a sign, just one word, painted in red, almost. The phone buzzed. One final message. "Don't worry. You'll remember everything when we arrive." The car kept driving, but I wasn't sure if we were still on Earth anymore. The sky had turned gray, no stars, no moon. Just a thick, heavy color that looked like old dust. The trees outside weren't trees now. They had no leaves, no branches, just tall, thin shapes like bones reaching toward the sky. I stopped asking questions. No one ever answered anyway. The phone on the dashboard lit up again. A new message. "Do you remember what you did?" I stared at it. No reply. Then the message changed. "Think harder." Suddenly, my head started to ache. Sharp pain behind my eyes, like someone was digging through old memories with a knife. And then I saw something. Not from tonight. From before. A party. Music. Too many drinks. I was laughing, holding my phone, looking for a ride. I was outside some random house. I didn't even remember whose. And then the memory twisted. A second Uber had pulled up. I had ordered one, but that wasn't it. Different plate, different car. But I was in a rush. Cold, tired, a little drunk. So I got in anyway. I never even checked the app. And now, I was here. I whispered, "It was my fault." The car answered, not with words, but with sound. Creaking, bones bending, leather stretching. The whole car shivered, like it was pleased, like it had been waiting for me to remember. The windshield started to fog up, but from the outside. I wiped a little space with my sleeve, and saw a face pressed against the glass. Not human, pale, stretched skin. No eyes, just a smooth, blank face. But it was grinning, mouth wide, too wide, and it mouthed the words, "You're next." I screamed and backed away, pushing myself into the corner of the seat. The car didn't stop. It just started to sink, not down a hill, not into water, into the road itself, like the road had turned to liquid, thick, black tar, and was pulling us under. I looked at the driver. His hands had melted into the wheel now, like roots. He was part of the car. Maybe he always was. I banged on the window again. Useless. Then the phone buzzed once more. Final message of the night. You were never meant to leave. This ride has always been yours. The car sank deeper into the road, and everything went black. But I was still there, still breathing, still inside. Darkness. Not sleep, not unconscious. Just black, like floating in nothing. But I could still feel the car. Could still hear the engine humming quietly, like a low growl just beneath my skin. And then a whisper, very close. "Open your eyes." I didn't want to. I was afraid of what I'd see. But slowly I did, and I was back in the car, still in the same seat. Except now, the world outside was gone. No trees, no sky, just blackness stretching forever. The car was moving through it, but the road wasn't real anymore. It was just a thin line of red light, like blood glowing beneath us. Then I noticed something. The rearview mirror was gone, and so were the windows. No glass, no frame, just darkness. And shapes, dozens of them, floating alongside the car, watching me. Some had faces, some didn't. Some looked human, others didn't even try. But they were all familiar. Somewhere deep inside, I recognized them. Then I saw my own reflection. Not in glass, just in the shiny black surface of the dashboard. And I almost didn't recognize myself. My face looked tired, older, worn out, like I'd been riding for years. The phone buzzed again, but now the message wasn't typed. It was spoken, my voice. "How long have you been here?" I shook my head. "I don't know." Then another voice answered, from the seat beside me. But I still couldn't see anyone there. They never do. I looked at the dashboard. The map was still open, but the dot on the screen was no longer moving. It was blinking, stuck, and the address at the top had changed again. Now it said, "You are here." That's all. No city, no street, just that. I finally asked the question I'd been afraid to ask. Am I dead? Silence. Then the soft voice answered again. Not yet. But you're very, very close. Then the engine made a strange sound, like something deep inside it had torn open. The car jerked, slowed down, and finally stopped. I looked ahead. There was a door, just standing in the middle of the black road, made of wood. The driver turned his head slightly, for the first time since this Albega. The car was still, silent, but the air buzzed with pressure, like something huge was standing just outside the car, breathing. I stared at the door ahead. It had no walls, no building, just a door, standing by itself in the middle of the black road, glowing slightly under the red light beneath us. Old, wooden, scratched like something had tried to claw its way out, or maybe in. I looked at the driver. He didn't move. His face wasn't even a face anymore. Just smooth skin, like wax melted into a shape that used to be human. But his mouth moved. Only 2 words. Go through. My whole body said no. But my hand opened the door anyway. Not the strange one ahead, the car door. And this time it worked. No melting. No screaming. Just a click. I stepped out. The road beneath me felt soft, like walking on old carpet soaked in water. I walked slowly toward the standing door. Every step I took, I heard whispers, names, dates. Some I recognized. Some felt like nightmares I'd forgotten. When I reached the door, I didn't touch the handle yet. I just stood there and asked one last time, "What is this place?" And a voice behind me answered. So familiar. My own voice. "This is the end of the ride." I turned around and saw myself. But it wasn't a reflection. It was me, standing a few feet away, wearing the same clothes I had on earlier tonight. But my eyes were wrong. Empty. Like something had hollowed me out and left this version behind. The other me smiled. "You stepped into the wrong car. And now someone has to stay." I whispered, "Stay?" He nodded. "That's the rule. One in, one out." I backed away toward the strange door. He didn't follow. Just stood there, smiling calmly. Like he already knew what I would choose. I looked at the door again. It felt cold now. And behind it, I heard breathing. Hungry. Whatever was behind that door, it wasn't freedom. It was waiting. Waiting to finish what the ride had started. So I did the only thing I could. I ran. Not forward, but toward the car. I jumped in, slammed the door shut, and screamed, "Drive!" The car didn't ask where. Didn't need directions. The engine growled to life. The headlights blinked once. And the world outside folded inward like paper. The last thing I saw through the back window was me, still standing by the door, waving, smiling, as the road swallowed everything behind me, and we disappeared into black. Forever. The ride never ends. And if you ever find yourself in the wrong car, make sure it doesn't know your name. The end. Or maybe just the beginning. I thought it was over, that I'd escaped. But some rides don't stop. It had been weeks since that night, or maybe more. Time didn't feel normal anymore. I was back in my apartment. At least, that's what it looked like. Same furniture, same lights, same smell of cheap air freshener. But something felt off. It was like living inside a photograph of my life. Flat, cold, too quiet. Every time I checked the mirror, I held my breath, afraid my reflection would smile before I did. The nightmares came every night. Same road, same car, same door. I was the driver. I was the thing waiting behind the door. One night I finally got brave, or stupid. I deleted the Uber app, smashed my phone, bought a flip phone. No GPS, no internet, just numbers. I stopped going out, stopped talking to anyone, and for a while, nothing happened. Until tonight, I got a knock on the door. No one ever knocks this late. I looked through the peephole. No one. Just an envelope sitting on the floor. My name written in perfect black ink. Inside, a photo of a car. The same car. But this time, I wasn't in the back seat. I was in the driver's seat. And someone else was sitting behind me. A woman, maybe 30, holding her phone in her lap. I flipped the photo over. One word, handwritten on the back. Soon. Then the lights in my apartment flickered. The sound of tires on pavement echoed through the walls. I looked out the window. The street below was empty. Until it wasn't. The car was there. Waiting. But now, the engine was off. And the door was open. It was my turn. But not to escape. To drive. To pick up the next passenger. The air felt heavy. Like something was pressing down on my chest, even though I was standing still. The photo still sat on my table. My face in the driver's seat. A stranger behind me. The word "soon" burned into the back of it like a warning or a countdown. I didn't want to look outside again. But I did. The car was still there. Same shape. Same dirty black windows. Door still wide open. It was waiting for me. But this time, I wasn't scared for myself. I was scared for the woman in the picture. Who was she? And how was I supposed to find her? I didn't sleep that night. I sat by the window, watching the car like it might vanish if I blinked. But it didn't. It stayed. And then, just before sunrise, the phone rang. The old flip phone I'd switched to. No name, no number, just a call. I answered it. A voice on the other end. So, hi, is this my ride? I froze. Who is this? I asked. The voice paused. You're listed as my driver. Uber says your name is Thomas. That was my name, but I never signed up. I whispered, where are you? She gave me an address. I knew it. It was only 10 minutes away. I didn't answer. I just looked at the car outside again. The engine was on now. The lights blinked twice. Like it was ready. I walked down the stairs. Each step felt like I was sinking into the floor. The city was waking up, but the street outside was still dead silent. No birds, no wind, only the hum of the idling car. When I reached the door, it swung open by itself. The interior was exactly as I remembered it. Same cracked leather, same cold air. I sat in the front seat, and as soon as I touched the wheel, I felt it. I wasn't alone anymore. The engine roared. The GPS turned on by itself. Destination to. I didn't drive. The car moved on its own, but my hands were still on the wheel, and that made me part of it. Every turn we took, I felt more distant from who I was, from who I used to be. And when we finally pulled up to the curb, she was already standing there, holding her phone, looking confused. She opened the door, got in, smiled politely. Hi, thanks for coming. I turned around to warn her, to tell her to get out. But when I looked at her face, I froze, because I'd seen her before. Not in the photo, not in real life. In my dreams, she had been behind the door, the one in the road, the one I never opened. And now she was sitting behind me, smiling, like she'd been waiting for this moment all along. I turned back to the road, swallowed hard, and the car started driving again. Not toward her destination, but somewhere much darker, somewhere deeper. This time, I wasn't the passenger, and I wasn't the victim. I was part of the ride, and it had just begun again. The streets we passed weren't real anymore. At first, it looked like the city, but the lights were too dim. The buildings were too still. No cars, no people, no sounds, except the tires humming along a road that didn't feel solid. I tried to speak, to ask her who she really was, but my voice stuck in my throat, like something was holding it down. The woman in the back seat leaned forward slowly, her breath cold against my neck. You remember me now, she whispered. I did, but I didn't understand how. You were the one behind the door, I said quietly. She smiled. Yes. And you were the one who refused to open it. Her voice sounded like 1,000 voices layered together. Not angry, not kind, just hollow. I stared ahead. The GPS screen was blank. No roads, no map, just a spinning black circle. We weren't driving anymore. We were falling forward, like the road was sliding under us, dragging us deeper. The woman whispered again. This is where it ends, Thomas. I shook my head. No, I already survived this once. She laughed softly. No one survives. You just delay it. She leaned back, resting in the seat like she belonged there. Now it's your turn to let go. And then the car started to slow. Outside, the darkness cracked. Thin red lines stretched through the sky, like veins breaking open. The car pulled to a stop, and there it was again. The door. Same old wood, same scratches, still standing in the middle of the road. But this time, something was different. There was a name carved into the wood. Thomas Hale, burned deep into the surface, like it had been waiting all along. I turned to her. What happens if I go through? She stared at me, eyes completely black. No whites. No light. That depends. On what? She smiled. On whether the next passenger is ready to take your place. Then she held out something in her hand. It was a phone. My phone. The one I destroyed. Screen glowing. One name on it. Emily. My sister. It was calling her. Trying to bring her into this. Trying to use her to replace me. I snatched the phone away and threw it to the floor. Screamed, "No!" But she didn't flinch. She just smiled again. "Then I guess you stay." The door opened on its own. A red light spilled out, casting long, sharp shadows across the car. I felt something pulling me forward. Not wind. Not force. It was guilt. And truth. I stepped out of the car. Walked to the door. My name pulsed softly on the wood. But I didn't open it. I did something else. I knocked. 3 times. Boop, boop, boop. And for the first time, something knocked back. The knock echoed for too long. Boop, boop, boop. Then silence. And then a soft knock came back. Not loud, but deep. From far beyond the door. Like something ancient had just woken up. The woman in the car didn't say anything. She didn't need to. This part was mine. I stepped closer. My fingers brushed the doorknob. Cold, metal, wet. I turned it slowly. It clicked. And then the door creaked open by itself. A red glow spilled out again, but this time it wasn't just light. It was memories. I saw flashes of things I'd buried deep. My father's face, the night he died in a crash. My old house burned down when I was 12. My reflection as a kid, crying alone in the hallway. And then I saw something else. A shadow, standing behind all of it. Watching. Always watching. I realized something horrible. To think of this ride? It had been part of my life long before that night I got into the wrong Uber. It had followed me, grown with me, and now it wanted to finish the story. I took a step through the door, but instead of falling, I landed. Flat, steady ground. I was standing inside a small room. No windows, just mirrors, all around. Each mirror showed a different version of me. One was screaming, one was laughing, one was missing a face, and one stood silently, staring at me. Then it spoke. "You're not the passenger anymore." I shook my head. I didn't ask for this. The reflection stepped out of the mirror. Yes, stepped out. Now it was in front of me. I know, no one does. But someone has to drive. I backed away. There has to be another way. It smiled. There is. Behind me, another door appeared. Smaller, but no name on it. The reflection said, "You can leave. Right now. But if you do, someone else, someone you love, takes your place." And suddenly, the black door had a name scratched into it. Emily, my sister. I fell to my knees. No, I won't do it. But I knew the ride wouldn't let me go for free. Not without balance. The reflection knelt beside me. "You can stop this." "How?" "Choose. Stay here. Forever. Or open the black door and leave, but she takes your seat." The door creaked. It was opening on its own, and I could hear her voice. Emily, on the other side, calling for help, whispering my name. I cried. I screamed. I begged. But the choice was mine, and the time was up. My hands were shaking. The black door stood in front of me, open just enough for her voice to slip through. Emily, my little sister. She sounded confused. Like she didn't know where she was, or why. I could hear her say my name over and over. "Tom? Are you there? please, answer. Behind me, the red room stayed quiet. The mirrors had gone dark. Even the reflection was gone. It was just me, and the choice. Leave, and she takes my place. Or stay, and the ride ends with me. I looked back at the open black door. I could feel the wind from the other side. Well, comforting. Like life was waiting just beyond it. It was so tempting, but I knew what it meant. The car would go to her, just like it came for me. I stood frozen. My whole life led to this moment, and I finally understood something. This thing, the car, the ride, the door, it doesn't chase people. It waits for them to choose. It tempts them, tricks them, uses love against them. I looked at the black door, then at my feet. The floor had started to dissolve. Time was running out. Emily's voice faded, then returned. More urgent. Tom, where are you? I'm scared. I reached out, touched the edge of the door. It felt real, like I could just walk through and go home. Start over. Be free. But at what cost? I closed my eyes, breathed deep, and whispered, I'm sorry, Emily. Then I turned away from the black door, back to the red. I walked to the center of the room, kneeling down, waiting. A soft click. Behind me, the black door slammed shut. Gone. The red glow grew stronger. Blinding. I was being pulled into the floor now, but I didn't fight it. I let it take me. And as the world fell away, I felt one thing. Real peace. Like maybe, just maybe, I'd broken the cycle. The car wouldn't need another rider. Emily would live. I'd stay here, forever. Somewhere far from roads. Far from doors. Far from darkness. But just before everything faded, I heard one last sound. A phone buzzing. Ringing. A new name flashing on the screen. Not Emily. Someone else. Someone new. The ride was starting again. Not with me, but with another poor soul. And somewhere, miles away, a stranger opened the wrong car door. End of the wrong Uber. Let me know if you'd like a connected universe, a spin-off with Emily, or a new story entirely. The darkness never runs out of roads.